Chris, you want to take it for our
Oh, when
intro?
the Saints go marching in. Oh, when
When
the
the
Saints
Saints
go
go marching
no,
in. What did you do?
in.
Why did you stop?
I, you came at the wrong time.
What is going on?
I don't know. Chris messed it up. But anyway,
Shall we go from the
after.
top?
No, it's too late. You ruined it. After a week break technically because of the whole having to record our individual stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
We are back for week 2 now of the NFL because we kind of missed week 1. And looky there, Will is finally back with us. No longer
Yes, he
banished
is.
to night shift.
Yes, yo soy aquí,
Unbanished.
He can
unbanished.
he can technically thank Hurricane Francine as she's passing through tonight. So
Yeah, and let me check outside real quick. Yep, it's raining sideways.
yep, same here.
But
That's
despite a hurricane, we still will attempt this. Some of us may lose power, but
Yep.
it is a sacrifice we are willing to make.
Amen.
All right, quick recap of week 1's events. Does everyone remember what their record is for their picks? I believe I was 9-7.
I cannot
I was
remember
also
something that
9.
I never knew.
I think
Wow.
we're all 9-7 except Will because he missed like 3 or 4 games that he just didn't pick for.
Yeah.
You're just upset that I am elite picker.
I think
Right.
you
Sure.
got what 8 of the ones you picked right. But
Last I checked, I was like 8-2.
yeah. But I don't remember which ones you didn't pick, but we'll skip over that for now. The big takeaway from this past week for at least me and Chris and I guess Paulo, I don't know. Right here, Saints against the Panthers. Saints win 47-10. And
let me tell you,
Chris was at the game. He can testify to how the dome
the
was that
dome
day.
was rocking. It was rocking, baby. Let me tell you, it's been a hot minute since I've seen the dome that electrifying. It just reminded me of the good old days when we had Drew Brees and company. And y'all should know that for a fact. Like, it was good times in that dome, and I was loving every second of it. And the fact we put up 47 points against a Panthers team that we struggled to put up even 20.
Yes, and what most people
blew my mind.
most people say, okay, you did that against the Panthers, big whoop. What they don't realize is, and I'm pulling it up on screen here. This is from last season. The 2 times we played them, we won 20-17 and 28-6. The fact that we scored 47 points on them this time shows me that the offense has improved at least
Drastically. So, like, it was like night and day. Like, just sitting at the dome watching that go off. I'm just like, who are these guys? Like, these are not this is not the offense I'm used to looking at these last 3 years. They actually look competent. They actually look amazing, high powered. Of course, I'm not going to go too far with that because
it was the Panthers, but
it was the Panthers, yeah, and it's only 1 week of football. So the bigger question is, and which we will talk about in a moment, is how they will do against really good teams like, say, Dallas coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit here. I want to bring attention to the other good games that we had this past weekend, which Will, I believe you're really the only one here that got to watch the full thing. The Texans and Colts, what a game.
Yeah, I mean, to open up week 1 against the division rivals, always a challenge. We beat them in the playoffs last year, or beat them in the regular season to go to the playoffs. So to start the season off with the win, yeah, it was 29-27, but it's in Indy. It's against Anthony Richardson, who, playing us last year up until he got hurt, was beating the Texans at that time. So for us to go out there and win in week 1 on the road for a divisional game, stellar. I mean, that's exciting for the season. I mean, let's give props to. I had my doubts about Stephon Diggs coming over. I'm going to start with that. That's the biggest thing is we saw what he did in Buffalo, with not as many targets. How upset he was. You know, he gave me that AB vibe when AB was with the Bucks.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was concerned about. But hey, let's give it up. You know, 2 touchdowns. You know, I think he had 40 yards on the day, but still 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon. Oh my God! Thank you for reviving our run game, Joe Mixon. 24 carries for 160 and another 20 through the air, and a touchdown in his debut in Indy of all places to be able to put as many yards up like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of promising features there for the year, but there's also a lot of improvements. I mean, we still had 27 points scored, including a long ball to Alec Pierce for
2 long
60
balls.
yards. Yeah, for 60 yards for the touchdown, and then one later in that second half. So definitely some things to improve on, but overall, I'm satisfied continuing from last year. So I'm not going to say it, but I definitely see a deeper playoff run
And
happening
I
this
hope
year
so,
for sure.
honestly.
Same.
What were y'all's records for last week again?
I was
I just
9 and
added mine
7.
up.
If
Wow,
I
y'all
remember
whack. I was
9 and
12
7.
and 4.
How?
Well,
Wow.
Because the only ones I got wrong were the Patriots, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and I can't remember. But the difference is that some of y'all picked the Browns and I picked the Cowboys. I picked the Eagles while y'all picked the Packers.
You
Jose
picked the
picked the
Chargers,
Jets.
I
I picked
think.
the Niners.
I'm the only one that
You picked
picked
the
the Jets.
Chargers?
No, I think you picked the Chargers, didn't you?
I thought I picked the Raiders.
I can't remember.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
Well, we'll keep better track of this going forward.
Yeah.
But
I was 10-1 minus the games I did not count, but still elite record for week 1.
Yeah.
Just
Did
saying,
not
put an
count all of
asterisk
the
right there.
ones. All of the ones that he would have got wrong, he did not pick.
I mean, what is it? Could have been, only 5 more. So let's just say 10-6 at the worst. Still
yeah.
better than these 2 hooligans.
Theoretically possible.
Yeah, I also want to bring up the other game, which I consider to be the game of the week, the Rams and Lions on Sunday night. That was a great game
That
to
was a
watch.
thriller.
That was a very close game toward the end. Unlike Monday night, which it just seemed like the Jets couldn't really get much going. There was a lot of good games this week. There was some teams that I know that the Saints used to wear, or the Saints fans used to wear bags over their heads. Some of these teams might be getting close. The Giants got blown out 28-6 against the Vikings, led by Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And Daniel Jones is not it. He did not deserve the
Mm-mm.
money they gave that man.
That's
They
nothing
did.
new. We knew that.
It was bad, folks. It was bad.
Yeah, and Bryce Young of the Panthers. Is it safe to say now? Like, I know people have they don't want to say it, but he's a bust. He's
100%.
It's looking like it.
So as y'all know, I was at the game. The very first pass on their very first possession, interception, right off the bat. He just, I don't know who
bad
he was
one,
throwing
too.
to.
It looked like
Yeah,
he threw it to the defender. It was terrible.
It was so bad, and that's when somehow some part of me was thinking maybe we could take this game away, but I don't want to get my hopes up. And sure enough, we took the game away, and we made life hell for Bryce Young, and he kept making more. I felt like he made so many mistakes in one game than he did all of last season.
The second interception that he had was also pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's overshooting his receivers or what, but it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Good Lord. They are in some pain right now. And originally, for everybody who can see the cameras, I know Paulo can't right now, but the TV back here was going to have some stuff displayed on it, and I had a certain image that I found that would have been perfect back there if I can get the camera to focus on it. I don't know if you can see, but that's Bryce Young and Daniel Jones. Trash cans in a back alley with the sewer water.
Yeah,
Yep.
you were way off camera there, bud. You weren't even close to being on camera with that one. You're about as far to the right or left as Bryce Young's pass. It's terrible.
On my screen, it shows up in the corner, but that's about it.
Not on mine.
But
I think the only game I want to bring up besides the Texans is the Dallas and Browns game, just because it's in Cleveland. You have the number one defense to start the season, and you get 33 put on you at home
Ouch.
by a quarterback who everyone hates on, says is overrated, shouldn't be paid. You know, they call him a middle of the pack quarterback, yet he goes up and does what he does to you at home with the defense like that. Like, I'm not saying anything for them, but for that defense, that's a terrible look to start the season.
so
And your offense didn't help you.
my question
The
is,
Browns were
God,
never
just-
winning that game.
my
Yeah,
question here
Deshaun-
is, how long will it be
Deshaun, go
before
back to
Deshaun
the,
gets benched?
Yeah, that boy just needs to go back
For
to
who,
the starch
though?
parlors.
Who are they? Who are
I
they
don't
gonna put
know.
in there if they bench him?
Jameis Winston.
Who's not there anymore?
Yes, he is.
No, he's still there.
Oh, what
He's still
happened?
there.
You said he
He's
wasn't.
the backup for the Browns.
So I heard that they wanted to trade him, but turns out nobody wanted him. So
Yep.
he's still with
He
them.
is there as the
Chris
backup.
Chris is spreading
And-
lies and
and you still
misinfo.
have-
Well, no,
You still have
there was
DTR in the
something
background.
way back when Chris said that. Like, I looked it up and it did say that he wasn't on the roster anymore, but I think he's back on there now.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, no.
So I
Jameis is still there, and your third string is still DTR. You know, Thompson.
Yeah, well,
but
you
I'm
can't
not saying
put
that he's
DTR
going to
in
do
there.
anything. Not saying
You
you're going
can't.
to.
That's the
but,
worst. You got to put
Yeah.
Winston, if anybody.
So, you know, Cleveland, sorry, you made the terrible trade. Houston came out like champs. I had it pulled up earlier, but the what we got out of that trade, the amount of picks and what those picks turned into, kind of on you on this one.
Yep.
Yep, Texans fans are drinking Browns fans' tears.
And there are two more games that I want to mention here, and that's the Titans and Bears. And we've all said stuff about Caleb Williams. He did not impress me in this game. The Bears offense as a whole did not impress me in this game. And the way I've seen people describe it, it's the best way I can put it. The Bears did not win this game. The Titans lost it. It was theirs.
Yeah, the Titans easily could have won this game, and they just lost it themselves. The Bears, the only thing that helped the Bears win this game was defense
And special teams.
Yeah. Their offense didn't do anything. Like, did Caleb Williams finish under 100 yards?
Yes, I
passing?
think
Is that
93
correct?
or 94. I can pull it up here. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
see.
pretty bad, folks.
Yeah, I think it was no touchdowns and 94 yards is what he finished with.
Let's see here. Pull up the Bears. Yep, 14 of 29 and 93 yards.
Yeah. So
Not
now I don't want
great.
to dog. Yeah, but I don't want to dog on him too much because it is his first start, and we gotta get your rookie first start jitters out of the way.
Yeah.
But it's not promising. If I'm a Bears fan, that's not promising. So you will really hope that he plays better the next week.
Well,
Which
we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, we'll talk about that.
The other game I wanted to talk about before we move on to week 2 here is what happened to the Bengals.
Dude.
They suck at the beginning of the season, just like they always suck at the beginning
Well,
of the season.
From what I saw, it was a lot of very unfortunate events for them. I can't remember who it was that caught the pass, but as he was walking into the end zone for the Bengals, he fumbled, and it was recovered by the Patriots. What would have given them an extra 7?
That was the tight end, and just the way that safety came up and hit him, just
Yep.
proper tackling technique. I mean, it goes to show You know,
And if I
people are
remember,
talking
that
from
wasn't the
Kiwi
only
all the way
fumble
up.
either, and
No,
it
it
was
wasn't.
it was not a good time for the Bengals. But will they bounce back for this week? God, I hope so.
For their sake, I would hope so too, because they just look flat in that game. Now I didn't see it myself, but I saw the highlights and they just look terrible. They just look flat. I would hope they bounce back this week. Their defense at least looks pretty decent. I'll give
Yeah.
them that much. But defense can only hold up for so long if your offense just isn't doing anything. Trust me, us Saints fans know. We witnessed 3 years worth of that.
I mean,
So
another prime example of that right there, Chris, is the game at the top here of the Sunday list with the Steelers and Falcons, and leave it to the Falcons to lose a game to a team that didn't score a touchdown.
oh, Falcons. Bear with me for a minute, y'all.
Good Lord.
Falcons. I've been seeing y'all talk so much trash all on Twitter for the past week or two. You guys were saying, "Oh, Kirk Cousins is always Lord and Savior." Blah blah blah. Oh, London's so much better. What happened?
Uh,
Falcons, y'all still suck.
it
Okay,
brings
I'm
up
done.
the
I'm done.
question though of did the offense struggle because the offense isn't great, or did they struggle because the Steelers defense is that good?
I mean, TJ Watt definitely hit Kirk Cousins like 5 times. And even though some of them were called back, he had 2 strip sacks. So the Steelers defense is definitely a factor in that game.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that; it just shows that offensive line is atrocious. When your quarterback gets hit 5 times, sacked
Yeah.
5 times, pressured, fumble, strip
And then
fumble.
and then also Highsmith hit him, sacked
Yeah.
him. A
So
couple
that just
Hayward sacked him.
Let me
Like,
see
I agree
what
with
the
Paulo
total
that
amount is. If
I
it
agree with
shows
Paulo. Defense looks good, but I mean that also chalks up to terrible O line
yeah, not good for a quarterback that's coming off of an Achilles injury.
that you just paid for 4 years and 200 million. Yeah, you might want to start looking at that offensive line a little bit more.
Yeah, like you said, Paulo, you may have hit him more times, but only 2 counted as sacks. 1 from Watt and 1
Yeah.
from Adams.
Yeah, well, I know a bunch of them got called back because of defensive penalties that were terrible for the Steelers, but I know TJ Watt had the ball in his hands like 2 times that got called back.
Yeah.
One of those strip sacks was called back, and he was livid about it because the penalty that they came up with didn't even make sense at that time.
It's weird. But let's move on here to week 2, and starting off with Thursday night, tomorrow night for us, Bills and Dolphins. This ought to be a decent one.
Where is
Yeah,
this game
'cause
at? Is this Miami
It's
or
Miami.
Buffalo?
Miami, yeah.
Ooh.
It should be a good one, folks.
Honestly,
I don't know if a decent one is the right word. Let's also keep in mind what happened to the Bills this week.
yeah, I think
yes,
you're
they
about to say the same
won.
thing I was.
Yes, they won. Let's not overlook that, but let's look at what happened the first half of that game, where
Well,
absolutely nothing went right for them.
Also, it's kind of similar to like with the Titans. It was essentially the Cardinals' game to lose,
Once
but
again, yeah.
Kyler Murray just didn't throw the ball to a wide open Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, so let's keep that in mind that they got dominated, by the Cardinals at home for the Bills. This is a home game for the
Yeah.
Bills, and they lost that whole
And
first half and
we
got
said
lucky in the end.
said the Cardinals were going to be giving people fights this year.
Yeah, so
We did.
let's also keep that in mind. Now it's at home for the Dolphins, but we know, that these games do have a tendency to be, nail biters. These are one of those
Yeah.
matchups that every year that we know can be knockout, drag out, and they're going to go one way or the other, just like last year.
Granted, though, the Dolphins did also struggle for the first half against Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Yeah.
in my opinion, about week 1. A lot of people week 1 want to jump to conclusions. They've already got their power rankings. They got up who's going to make Super Bowl, this and that. It's week 1.
Yeah,
There's
it's way
growing
too early.
pains, a lot of new moving pieces, new rookies, new people on the team. Like it's week 1. They haven't played for months. Yes, there's practice and preseason, but now you're actually fighting for something. So,
Yeah, that's
it's
why
it's
I'm
just
only
it's
there's
just
only
week
like
one.
two teams. There's only like two teams right now, the Panthers and the Giants, that I'm confident
Yeah.
won't be good. Like
Oh,
everything
well, yeah.
else in week one is just week one. Like it
Let me tell
doesn't
you
mean
something.
anything.
For the next 5 years, you can bet that those teams are not going to get anywhere close to the playoffs. They're going to finish well below 500, and nothing's going to change.
Mark my
And that's
words.
probably what's going to happen for
Mark
them.
my words. This year, when the draft comes around, the Giants are probably going to have pick number 2, Jackson Dart to New York.
And
That's
y'all
to
know I'm a
start. They need a QB.
And y'all know I'm a passionate Ole Miss fan. I love Jackson Dart. Shout out to Jackson Dart. Heisman coming up, I hope. But it would pain me to see him play for the New York Giants. Like, just take a dagger and stab me right now.
For what reason though? Like for
It's
what
the
reason, honestly
Giants.
though? Yeah, that doesn't
It,
mean anything though. When Joe Burrow got drafted to the Bengals, everyone thought like, oh, his career's gonna be over. And then look at that franchise in his second year. Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, but
Like that doesn't mean anything. Like you get
I
I mean, they've
I
got a
know.
good coach in New York. They've got, they've got some good defensive players. They just need more good players.
Are you calling Brian Daboll a good coach? Because I'm confused
Yes, I'm
here.
calling him a good
I'm I'm
coach.
I'm gonna I'm gonna disagree. If he was a
Are
good
you
coach,
saying
will we not be moving on from Daniel Jones? Will we not be looking to make different decisions for this team?
he's
I
not the
get it. You
GM?
paid
That's
him.
not his decision.
It doesn't matter. You got to make
It
some changes. You
does.
got to do. You got to help that team out.
I mean, look, that's the GM's job to do that anyway. It's the GM's decision to pay him. Like, what's he gonna do? Just like, oh, we paid this guy. Let me sit him for another guy who's not gonna make us any better.
yeah, I'm not
Houston
gonna
did it
lie
with
though.
Brock
If
Osweiler.
I if I'm Giants fans, I would rather have DeVito in.
I mean, that didn't really serve them very well last year. It was a fun story. It was funny because he was the Italian mafia meme. But I mean, were the Giants really better? Like marginally,
Tannehill is
maybe.
still a free agent. Tannehill is out there. Joe Flacco is playing backup for Anthony Richardson. There are quarterbacks out there
I mean, that's
that they could
true.
be using,
That's true.
but
But
they would
again, that's a
rather
GM
watch this.
job.
They would rather watch
The
this
coach,
downhill. As a
Dayball can't
the
do
coach
anything
has
about that. The
the coach
GM
has
needs
some
to.
say.
I
Also,
miss this, y'all.
Tannehill's not a great QB either.
Good lord.
Better than freaking Daniel Jones.
He might be, but with what weapons? What's Tannehill gonna do? He couldn't
Malik
do
Neighbors.
anything. He couldn't do anything with AJ Brown and Derrick Henry.
You got weapons. You got to know how to use them.
All right, that's
Anyway.
enough of that tangent. Going back to this game, based off what I saw last week, I gotta pick the Dolphins. The Bills just still have too much like uncertainty for me.
I will agree because the Dolphins currently have better receivers than the Bills, and just seeing how the Bills struggle to beat a Cardinals team that went, I think, 2-15, 3-14 last season. Correct me if I'm wrong,
I don't
but
remember.
yeah, either one of those records, still not a great record altogether. Give me the Dolphins all day. It wouldn't surprise me if they win by 7.
No. Paulo will.
I will. I don't know if it's gonna be a close game or not. I would imagine it's gonna be just because it's a division game. And I think that the Bills will put up a fight. Like I don't think that the Bills fell off as hard as people are thinking that they did, just because Diggs is gone and whoever else. But I mean, like Diggs last year or two in Buffalo wasn't amazing either. I think that the Bills will keep it close, but the Dolphins should be the best team in the division this year.
Yeah,
I think the Bills' time has passed a little
I
bit.
think it just comes down to defense more than anything at this point. And I think the Dolphins have a better defense.
The Dolphins' defense was making some plays against Jacksonville to help get them back in that game.
Yep.
So,
well, Will's just got to give his prediction.
Oh, did you already give yours, Jose? I didn't even
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
said I was the first one.
Oh,
Mad tuna
I forgot.
map.
I forgot. Yeah, I
Bro.
forgot. Yeah, I think the Dolphins Dolphins win this one. Uh, I don't think I think it'll be a knockout dragout like usual, just because the two of them. But Josh Allen has to get adjusted and figure out how to work with the receivers he has. I mean, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Kincaid. Like you got to figure out how to work with those guys. Like they're nowhere near what Diggs was,
Diggs,
receiver
Gabe
wise.
Davis.
Yeah, like Curtis Samuel. I mean, is your wide receiver one? I mean, he's a great wide receiver, but he's not
Shakir is
that
number
status
one.
of Diggs.
Is
Oh,
he?
is he? I
Curtis
thought
Samuel's two.
Samuel was. Wow, that is shocking.
And Coleman, the rookie, had the most targets in this past game out of all
Yeah,
the
That's
receivers,
not
so that might
surprising.
change.
so I think it's going to be a great game to watch, but I do think the Dolphins win.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're all in agreement on that one then. Let's move
First
on
time this
to
season.
Sunday here. I don't think this should be a surprise to anyone. I think the Ravens are gonna beat the Raiders.
Yeah,
After
hands
what
down.
I saw against the Chargers, I don't know what to make of this Raiders team.
The Raiders, it's funny that ever since Derek Carr left, their quarterback situation has just gotten worse. And they kind of needed to move on from Derek Carr, but right now if you gave them back Derek Carr, then that team would be relevant again. Like
Honestly.
bad QB play is what's holding them back right now.
Yeah, and that Baltimore defense, I think, is going to eat them alive. And their running game is going to just steamroll that Raiders defense. There's nothing in this game that I can't see the Baltimore Ravens not losing it. So give me the Baltimore Ravens all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna say by 14.
So yeah, I'll take the
Yeah,
Ravens by 10, 14-ish.
same.
Yeah, I had high hopes for Gardner Minshew just because of past play. And then again, week one, I don't think it gets better for him in week two. Just that defense is obnoxious. We saw what they did to Kansas City in week one. I said the Ravens by 21.
Sheesh. I mean, I can't say that's ridiculous
Yeah,
though,
I don't
'cause-
I don't think it's out of reach, but
yeah. I think Gardner
It's a home
Gardner
game
Minshew's
too
a
for the
guy.
Ravens. That's part of it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a home game for him, so
yeah.
those home games, I mean, do play a big factor in a lot of it. But double runners, I mean, Henry, Lamar, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah likely looking like he's going to take over tight end one possibly this year. Maybe it was just they were trying to make sure Andrews didn't get hurt in week one. But I mean, there's a
went
lot of
off.
promise there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
and
have no
likely is
doubt
very.
they can outscore him by 21.
You're about to make a bad pun, Chris.
I was going to say
Chris,
likely is
See
very
us-
likely to catch the ball.
Oh goodness.
I will smack him with the fish when I come back.
Great success. I think
I
Gardner
could tell by the
Minshew's like
smile on his face. That's what he was about to do.
I think Gardner Minshew's an easy guy to root for, and that's
Mhm.
kind of like what's kept him around is that he's likable and like he'll accept like a backup position or do whatever, but he's never been that guy. He's never
Yeah.
he's not a starter. The only reason he's a starter now is because they're just out of options.
Yeah, they don't trust Aiden O'Connell. I mean, it's only his second year. Didn't show as much promise as they thought, so it's gonna be tough. He's gonna have a tough season, but
Yeah.
it's not getting
Yeah.
better for week two. Sorry, bud.
Let's move on here to another team that I think is about to get possibly blown out. Chargers and Panthers. It may be in Carolina, but I think the Chargers are winning this. The Panthers don't show me anything that tells me they can win a game.
Yeah, and to be honest, the Chargers surprised me the most from last week because I thought the Chargers weren't going to do anything against the Raiders because I thought the Raiders were a more superior team at the moment because they had like somewhat better weapons, somewhat better defense, quarterback, etc. Well, maybe not quarterback. But the Chargers just came out and smacked them around. It was like, oh, all right, that's different.
Yeah,
So seeing them
Paulo's
go,
take from the predictions episode is looking better and better.
Dude,
yeah,
I'm
for
telling
real.
you, it's just like for everything you could say about the Chargers, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa is something they definitely got going for them on defense, and Herbert is a great quarterback, so you're always
Yeah.
gonna have something on offense.
Not to mention, it seems
Yeah,
like their run
and
game is really starting to get going.
I mean,
I was
they
just about to
took both
mention
of
that.
the Ravens' old guys. They took Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, so you kind
They
of
also
got
have,
a good one too.
wait, no, never mind. But
What were you
yeah,
about to say?
so I was about to say they have Austin Eckler. I was like, wait a minute, he's not with them anymore.
No.
God.
Whoops. Yep.
So
Yeah.
are we
Even
all in
Quentin
agreement?
Johnston caught some passes.
Oh God. The world
Yeah.
is ending.
Man had 3 catches, 38 yards. Something.
But
Still
yeah.
a better career than Kadarius Toney.
This is true. This is very true.
Are we all in agreement though that the Panthers should not win this?
Not by a long
No.
shot.
No,
Like,
and I think
the
the Panthers have a better receiving core, honestly. It's just they don't have any quarterback play.
And
Yeah,
their
and
defense was nothing special.
Yeah. Even if
not at
it's just a
all.
field goal game, like I still take the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take Chargers all day. It wouldn't surprise me if they win by 10 points, honestly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I can see it. Will, your thoughts?
Confirm
Ditto.
or deny.
Can confirm. I mean, like I said, we're talking about the Panthers. There's not much to talk about. Like there really isn't. It's like, they may
They
get
exist.
lucky
That's
this
about it.
season. Yeah, I mean, teams have to be careful. Let's go back to last season, Houston. I think Houston went into there thinking, easy win. We're gonna do this and that. We're gonna win, and then look what happened. I think teams have to be careful with that. Like some of these, lower teams, like let's say the Raiders, let's say the Bears, like those teams, like that we don't think highly of or that don't play at a high level. Those might lose. The Panthers might get a win out of that, but like you're saying against the Chargers, it's not happening. The team with a better quarterback, 2 running backs that we all have seen in the past that can run. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
it's
a better
just going to be one of
defense.
it's just going to be one of those teams that everyone they walk in, we'll be all right, and they just somehow lose, just like Houston did last year. That's the only thing we got to worry about this year.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at the
Yep.
Panthers schedule, but they might
When
be
they
going
play the
0-17.
Giants in Germany. When they play the
Yeah,
Giants in Germany, we can have a debate.
that might be their one win. They may go 0-17. Hell, they may go 1-16. Like there's just not a lot of
There's
promise.
no hope. Yeah, there's no hope for the Panthers at this rate.
No.
Everything
Not from
looks
what I saw.
terrible. Mm-mm.
If they play the Broncos and Bo Nix gets hurt and Zach Wilson goes in, then we can have a debate.
Maybe.
Honestly,
yeah,
I'm not
but
even
Bo
confident
Nix
in them
could
to beat
'em,
Zach
yeah.
Wilson.
Mm-mm.
Give me my
Anyway,
old high school team and we could beat them. I'm telling you, they're not going anywhere.
Good God. All right, let's move on to the one that we're probably going to spend like 20 minutes talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints against the Cowboys in
And
Dallas.
ironically, I mentioned it briefly. If the Saints can replicate what they just did to the Panthers on this past Sunday, now it may not. I'm not saying it's gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be a close game, but you just get that offense rolling right off the bat, no struggling whatsoever. You're gonna win this game easily. But the
It's
hard thing is
the
it's
Cowboys'
in Dallas.
defense, too.
So the defense of Dallas is not a joke. They're gonna be tough. They're gonna probably be our most challenging team to face this season, other than the Eagles and Chiefs coming up later this season. But the way I could see us finding a way to beat these guys at their house is making sure our defense is giving Dak Prescott no time whatsoever to throw that ball, or giving just making sure they suffocate the run game. Like, I could see us beating them, but the question is, can you remain consistent? That is the problem
Yeah.
with this team.
If our offense can replicate even just like a bit of what we saw against the Panthers, then I think that they have a legitimate shot. Our defense, I'm confident our defense can, do their job. They might not stop them every time, but I think that they can make enough big plays to help us out. It just comes down to the
Yeah,
consistency on offense.
100%.
I'm glad that y'all are slightly optimistic.
You still you're not
I'm
optimistic?
not. No, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't know why y'all see it. Just because we beat the Panthers, like we did good, but it was the Panthers.
Yeah, the
I
team
mean, I
we
get that.
barely scored 20 points on last year.
I mean that's true, but the
Yeah.
Panthers look even worse than they did last year.
And
I don't know. The Cowboys. I feel like everyone. Like, sure, the Cowboys wet the bed in the playoffs, but they always do. Like the regular season, they're a good team. And then they just dismantled the Browns defense last week, and then we're thinking that our defense is gonna bottle them up. I don't see it. And then also Foster Moreau was a big impact player for us last week. He's in concussion protocol. A.T. Perry broke his hand. I mean, our offense is already slowly starting to crack. Like if Derek Carr plays well and everyone who's left plays well, sure, but like our O line is also
Okay,
like it held up this past week, but we think it's holding up against Cowboys
there
pass
is
rush.
there
I don't
is
know.
one thing though that you have to take into account with the stuff about the offense, Paulo. We still have people that never even got involved last week. Olave had hardly anything thrown his way. Olave
I
was a
mean that's true.
non-factor in that game. Yes, maybe A.T. Perry goes down, but did he really do much last week either?
mm-mm, not really,
I
no.
don't think so.
It was
But
all tight
still,
ends,
options.
running backs, and Shaheed.
Yeah, Shaheed
Yeah.
was cooking them left and right.
Yeah, but
Chris
that's the
Olave,
thing is Shaheed's not cooking the Cowboys secondary like he cooks the Panthers
No, most
secondary.
likely not.
no.
That's why I think they're going to
But
have to actually get Olave involved a good bit in this. Trust your best receiver. Uh, like I said, I don't think like if they play the way they did against the Panthers, I think it might be a close game. For now, I'm going to say the Cowboys because I don't know what to expect out of the Saints. For now, I'm going to say the Cowboys, but they have a legitimate shot.
yeah,
I'm
so
taking the Cowboys by like 10 or 14 in this matchup.
I don't know about that, but
Ye of little faith, Paulo. I have had a little
What?
bit restored at least.
Nah, there's
I
no. I don't have any reason to have faith right now. My reason to have faith is based off of us beating the worst team in the NFL.
well, I guess I'm gonna be the odd man out here, pending Will's pick, of course. Um, I'm picking the Saints this matchup. I don't know. I got a good feeling about this matchup. Like the odds are against us. Dallas's defense is definitely better. Their offense is definitely better. But something about the way our offense flowed last week, and I know it's just against the Panthers, but something about them just looks different, and it gives me just enough confidence to give them the edge in
I
this
won't
game.
even be mad. Like, if we lose, I won't be mad. If it's a close
Oh yeah, me
game, I
neither.
will be happy.
Yeah, me neither. Like if we lose, oh well, so what? We'll try again the next week. But if we lose only by 3, it still gives me a lot of
Even if
hope
we
for this
lose by
season.
7, if we keep it
Yeah.
close to the Cowboys with the offense they have and the defense they have, then I think a little bit of faith there is restored.
hmm And one quick comment about the Saints O line, and we've had all we've we've been frustrated with that O line for quite some time. Did you notice that he didn't get sacked once? Actually, no, he got sacked once, but it was only one time out of the number of pressures he's experienced from that Panthers team last season. Like,
Yeah, but it is slightly different. They did lose Luvu.
Yeah, the Panthers' defense is worse.
I don't know if it's worse or
I know.
better yet. I can't tell. One
All I'm
game is not
saying is,
enough of a sample size.
yeah, I know. All I'm saying is that O line doing that good of a job protecting Derek Carr, that's what I'm looking for. Even if it's just against teams like the Panthers. If you do that against the Cowboys coming up, oh yeah, you're going to be winning a lot of games for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I still kind of expect the Cowboys to win in this one. If we have some semblance of an offense in this, if we can still score on that defense and keep it close, then I'm happy.
Same. So as of now, I'm sticking with my home team. I'm picking the Saints by 3.
What you think, Will?
I'm going to use Jose's words against him. Let's be honest here. He said a small sample size from week 1.
I didn't want
and
to
we're
say it. I'm glad you
translating
said it.
No, I'm gonna hop on that. You know me. I'm gonna hop on that. Small size sample size from week 1. For Panthers defense can't be bad, but the Saints offense and whole team can be amazing and beat
That's
the
not what
Dallas
I'm
Cowboys.
saying, though. I'm just saying
Get out of
if
here. Stop right there. Stop. Time
no,
out.
no,
Stop.
because you're
That's what you said.
misinterpreting it.
Nah. You said
Before
small
we
sample
said,
size
we
from
said
the defense.
if.
You can't tell that it's terrible.
We
But you
said
have these
if.
high hopes for them to beat the Cowboys, who have gone in and beat and destroyed the number 1 defense in week 1, 33-17. And we're talking about keeping it within
And
7.
again, right there, Will, the supposed best defense in the NFL off of one game,
It was ranked. They were ranked number 1. To start the season,
based
they
off
were ranked
last
number 1.
season.
That's how it goes. They went in there and they determined they were number 1 and they beat them. Now we're saying the Saints defense can do better than Cleveland's defense? That they're going to stop them? I don't believe so.
That's why I said if they can play like they did. If.
Keyword is if.
Dallas by 14.
Oh, I don't think so.
That's
I
not
think it'd be wrong with
ridiculous.
that
That's
one.
not ridiculous to say that.
It's not.
I-
It's not.
I think you're wrong there, bro. I
I
really
don't
think you're
think
wrong
so.
there.
That secondary is going to eat Derek Carr alive. You got Trayvon Diggs back. They have bolstered the secondary. They have Eric Hendricks at middle linebacker leading it, who, coming from Minnesota to them last week, absolutely showed why Dallas picked him up as immediately as they could, because he dominated that front four with Parsons, dominated that O line for Deshaun last week and got to him consistently. You're telling me your O line can do better than Cleveland's O line and prevent Michael Parsons and other weapons on that line from getting there? No,
No.
they can't. I'm telling you, they can't. Dallas by 14.
And I just want to
Guaranteed.
say here, I'm saying they're going to win. Who did I pick, Will?
Yeah, you're talking about I'm going to be so happy if they only lose by 7 as well. You got to make up your mind. One side or the other. You can't be wishy-washy.
Saying if they can keep it close, I'll be happy with that. Yeah, I would be happy. Because the Cowboys are one of the best teams in the regular season, at least in the league. If they can keep it close with that, based off of like I said, if they can keep consistency on offense like they had last week, they have a chance. But for now, I'm picking the Cowboys.
I just don't see us being able to keep consistency because consistency, like based off of last week, would rely on like tight ends and rely on Shaheed. One of which our tight ends is now down, our number 1, and then Shaheed is not. I don't know, like the Cowboys secondary. I just like consistency in terms of like what they were able to do last week. I don't see it happening. Like maybe they can find other ways to work around that, but it's just it's definitely an uphill battle.
And again, I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to be as good of an offense as they were this past week. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying we don't know how they're going to be against them because they went against the Panthers. We don't know yet. That's why I'm saying if they can play like that against a tough defense like Dallas, then they've got a shot. But for now, I'm picking Dallas.
And like I said, I'll be the odd man out. I'm sticking with my boys in black and gold. Yes, the odds are against us, but like I've said, when the odds are against us, bring it on.
I'm glad you're
If they
ready
mi-
to be hurt again, Chris. I'm not there
Bro,
yet.
bro, I've been a Saints fan all my life. I've embraced the hurt.
Uh,
Paulo has no optimism for
there's
anything.
no reason to have optimism right now.
It's not
Very
even
little.
called. It's not even called optimism. It's called realism. Being realistic. Optimism
Yeah.
has nothing to do with it.
Now, if we had performed like we did last week against a team like, let's say against a team, what's like a middle of the
Let's
pack
say
team
Bengals. Let's say Bengals. If they'd
against
have
the
done that to the
Bengals,
Bengals,
against the
I
Bengals
would
defense,
agree
then
with
I
you
would be confident.
100%.
But
Yes.
But again, y'all are acting like I'm saying it is fact. I'm not. I'm not saying it is fact at all.
Pull the
This
receipts.
is all pull the receipts. It's recorded.
Speculation.
But
Well, anyway,
yeah, Chris is the only one taking the Saints in this. Moving on, Buccaneers
Yep.
Lions rematch of a playoff game from last year. And I don't know what to make of this one. This is
gonna be a good game.
this could be a toss up, honestly.
is it in Tampa?
It's in
No,
Detroit.
Detroit.
I'm taking Detroit then.
Mm.
Taking Detroit. Detroit pulled it off last year, and the Bucks looked good, and the Lions looked good. The Bucks looked surprisingly good
Yeah.
in Week 1, but the Lions are a better team than the Commanders, so it'll be closer just by default. I don't know. I feel like the Lions just have a better run game, like by far. Like Rashad White is,
He's not very
he's
consistent.
a starting running back.
He's good in the pass game. He's inconsistent on the ground. That's why, like in that game against Washington, I can't remember his name, but the backup running back, he was actually getting some touches and was more
Bucky
efficient.
Irving.
Yeah, he was more efficient on the
Yep.
ground.
Yeah, but Montgomery Gibbs is clearly the better 1-2 punch. If they can get Amon-Ra involved, then they have, equal ground, I would say, in the passing game. There was a couple of times where Baker Mayfield made a miraculous escape from what should have been a sack, and I don't think that's going to happen against Detroit. I think if they're that close, they're going to get their hands on him.
Yeah, I mean, you
Just
have Aiden
appeared.
Hutchinson leading the forefront, and he's a monster. Like we saw what he did last year. I mean, and he's already slightly repeating it. I mean, in Week 1, like the kid is a monster against a
Yeah.
Rams team. Nonetheless,
I'm gonna
just-
go
I'm gonna
Lions.
go Lions by 3.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
think I
Lions
can
by 3 as well.
definitively-
Same here. Yeah. Because
Really?
because the Lions just tell me after they beat the Rams, now officially twice, once in the postseason, once this past week, it just tells me that if they're able to beat good teams like the Rams, there's a good chance they can beat good teams like Tampa Bay. And of course they've done it before already. Actually, they beat Tampa Bay twice last season, once in the regular season, once in the postseason. And they were both at home and on the road. So it's like I like the Lions better in this matchup. I think they have a slightly better receiver core than the Buccaneers. I know the Buccaneers got Mike Evans, but still, overall, it's a really good matchup. But I give the Lions the edge because they are a proven good team and they've beaten good teams already.
And home
And
field advantage.
There you go. So giving the Lions by 3.
Yeah. The way that I'm looking at it really is that it's only Week 2. Like one of the Bucks and Lions last games were against each other, like in the wild card round. I don't
Yeah.
see the Lions or the Bucks as massively improved. Like maybe each one got slightly better, but I still say we're in like essentially the same situation that we were in the wild card round. Like it's essentially the same team versus the same team. And I just think it's going to go the way that it did last time.
Yeah.
You taking
No,
your boy Baker Mayfield?
I like how close y'all are keeping it. I think that's one thing I can agree on with the three of you. Is y'all are saying like within 3 to 7 points, and I think that's fair. And I mean, going off of last week, yes, Baker against the Commanders, completely agree. Kind of like y'all versus the Panthers. Hey, they should have won that game, you know. And I agree. I mean, Baker looked phenomenal. Got to keep it on a leash though. It was the Commanders, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, golf and them versus the Rams, they had it and then blew it and then tied it to come back in overtime and win it. So it's kind of like, what are we gonna get? And you know, Paulo said, get Amon Ra involved. Of course, that's why receiver one. But that's the thing about these teams that are better than most is that when they don't get their wide receiver one involved, they're getting wide receivers 2 and 3 and tight ends involved. Jameson Williams, what a game! Like, who expects that out of him to go for 100 yards and a touchdown when that should be Brown doing that? You know what I'm saying? Or Laporta, like we saw last year. So those teams like that have wide receiver 2s and 3s that are gonna hold up their end, even if wide receiver one don't. Just like Baker, I mean, he's got Mike Evans, 10,000-yard consecutive season, but he also has Chris Godwin. He's
Who
got
had a
Cade
good game
Otton.
last week.
Exactly. That wide receiver 2 and 3 stepping up. You've got Cade Otton out there at tight end who can. We've seen him play well. I think it's gonna be real close. I agree with the 3 to 7 range, but I want to hold it down for Baker. I mean, I've got love for Baker. I enjoy how he plays, his moxie. He hasn't let his career, how his career started, define him, and he's proven that. He's showing what he could have been with that chance and with the right build around him, and I think he continues. I think this is his time to beat the Lions. I think the way they came off of week one, I think they can go in there and win it and then upset them. I think it's going to be an upset this week. I just feel that way on it. So I'll be the odd man out on this one, and I got to take him. I know Paul's going to what he say about Baker, but
No. Look, I'm
I'm
not
gonna
even.
stand
I'm
by
not
his
even gonna
side.
say anything because that doesn't. Like, that's not ridiculous. Like, I think that it could happen. Like, if I was talking about percentages or anything, I would
Yeah.
only say that the Lions are like, what, 55% chance win rate? Like,
Yeah. I'm thinking. I'm like I said, within 3 to 7 points. I mean, that's going to be damn close, and it's going to be a game that goes to 4 quarters. It's going to be all 4 quarters of fighting. But I think for Baker and them to win, just like with, and I didn't say it with the Saints, but I think if the Saints want to win, just like if Baker wants to win, they got to come out and hit them right in the mouth and do something that's gonna surprise them. Go deep that first drive, catch them off guard because that's the only thing. That's how you're gonna win those games that you're not favored in. You got to do something to catch that other team off guard that makes them throw their game plan out the window and win that game. That's what you got to do in those situations.
Yeah.
that ought to be a good game, to be honest.
Yeah. One of the better
Yeah.
matchups for the week here, so far at least.
Yeah. Potential playoff implications later down the line.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a playoff rematch from last year and this year,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Let's move on though to the next set of games here. Does anybody have faith in the Packers without Jordan Love?
No.
Mm,
Against who?
The Colts.
Double no.
no, definitely not.
No, not after
Definitely not.
what I saw
Nah.
Houston against the Colts last week. Nah,
Colts.
there's no,
I think the Colts are steamrolling.
even in Lambeau, like even in Lambeau, your home field. Malik Willis is your starter. Malik Willis, who was backup consistently in Tennessee, is going to start for you, and you're going to beat Indy. It's not
No.
not happening.
Yeah. Malik
Yeah, without
Willis
Jordan-
wasn't the guy in Tennessee. They drafted Will Levis just
Yep.
to replace the bad drafting of Malik Willis. So
Yep.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, and without Jordan Love there behind the center, I just don't see any hope for the Packers because we already discussed that their receivers are like in the middle of the pack at best, and they kind of proved that against the Eagles. I mean, they played well against the Eagles. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, they still didn't win the game, and they fell short. it's just like I just don't see any hope for the Packers in this game. I'm taking Indianapolis by 10.
Yeah.
So-
Everything that the Packers have going for them in this game, so do the Colts. Like you could say they have Josh Jacobs, well the Colts have Jonathan Taylor. You know, Packers defense isn't too shabby, but neither is the Colts.
Well, there's with that last
Yeah.
statement there, Paulo. There's the thing. They may have. Dang it, I've already forgotten his name. The Packers
Oh
running
my
back.
goodness.
God, I keep forgetting
Josh
his name. I
Jacobs?
don't know why.
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
They may have him, but he didn't do much last week.
No,
you
but,
know
I
you
mean,
went against him in fantasy. That man didn't do much at all.
Yeah, but they also had the backup who was doing something.
He did.
You know, the run game as a
Like-
whole wasn't non-existent.
Yeah,
It's
and they're
just
gonna
Josh
have to
Jacobs
get that
didn't do
running
a whole
game
lot.
going if they want to even get close to winning this. Because I don't think they're winning it with the
Yeah.
pass game.
I don't know. I think Anthony Richardson over Malik Willis is just too big of a hole to crawl out of. Like your quarterback is gonna be outgunned.
Yeah,
Like, don't get me wrong, Green Bay's defense did well against Philly for the majority of that game, but that's where Philly is better than most teams in the long run. They can play that long ball. Fourth quarter, they're going to pull it out. You're not going to do that. I mean, you saw what they did to Houston's defense. He's
Yeah.
going to replicate that and then some against that Green Bay defense, unfortunately. And that's terrible for the Packers. I feel bad for them because of the season they had last year and the season that Love had last year. Like, that's rough.
yeah.
You had some progress to build on, and you just you've lost all momentum.
And even though it's not a season-ending injury, it is going to be too late. I think they might get a wild card spot, but that'd be it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a morale killer too. To look at your schedule and be like, oh, okay, we've got this many games to get into the playoffs, and we're already like 1-5 or whatever by the time Love comes back.
So we're all picking the Colts, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Browns, Jaguars. I don't know what to make of this one.
This is an interesting one, to be honest.
Yeah. The Jaguars played the Jaguars played really well against Miami. The thing is, they just could not hold on long enough to actually win the game. But they also going up against a Browns team that just got their butts kicked by the Cowboys. Ugh.
Who
And
are now also without Njoku
yeah,
because he went down.
yeah. So the Browns lost some pieces on offense, and the Jaguars, as of now, still have their pieces on offense. So
I think I'm going Jags on this one.
I think so too. I think the Jaguars are gonna just be too much for the Browns to handle, especially since they're already having offensive problems with Deshaun Watson playing poorly, and they lost Njoku. Their running
Not really
game is
getting Amari
non-existent.
Cooper involved.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Browns. So I'm taking the Jaguars by 7.
Same.
See, my first instinct is to say Browns because if I'm not mistaken, the Jaguars really struggled against the Browns defense last year, if I'm remembering correctly, and I think they lost that game against the Browns. But after what I saw last week, I don't know what the Browns offense is going to do.
Who knows?
I'll go against my better judgment and say Jags by 3. I don't think they're going to be up by a whole touchdown. I think the Browns defense is going to make some plays.
Sounds good.
All right.
Will, your thoughts?
Yeah.
That was
What?
not a
What?
thought.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because here's the other thing. Here's the other side of that is in no way, shape, or form do I think the Jags offense is as good as or as powerful as the Cowboys. So that's one thing I'm keeping in mind for that defense. That defense is going to have a little bit easier time against the Jags. But like Paul said, the concerning side is that offense. Njoku is a big part of it, but you still have Amari Cooper. You have Jerry Jeudy, which, hey, Jeudy looked good. in that game. Jerome Ford, which last year we saw what he could do when he had to step up, and he's doing it now for Chubb being out. Um, Elijah Mitchell had a little bit of action against Dallas, but once again, it was Dallas. As I don't want, obviously I want the Jags to lose. As an AFC South competitor, in me, I want them to
That makes
lose just
sense.
because, hey, get them out of the way, right? Keep adding to their loss, make them 0-2 to start the season. But I mean, we've seen what Trevor Lawrence can do though when he can pull his team out. And I mean, they do have weapons. He's got Kirk, he's got ETN, they've
Gabe
got
Davis.
Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis.
Yep.
I want to give it to the Jags because they're at home, but I feel like that Browns defense is going to do way more against them than what they're able to do against an offense like the Cowboys. So it's kind of one of those that
The only reason it's not
it could go.
immediately Browns is
Yeah.
because of Watson. If they had
Yeah.
anyone else in there that was a better quarterback, it'd be an easy
'Cause he
decision to
didn't-
say Browns.
He didn't look good. He looked super uncomfortable. Yes, I get he's coming off of his shoulder injury, but besides that, he never settled down. Like watching him play in Houston, calm, collected, composed. Watching him play there in Cleveland, it's like a deer in headlights. He's frantic. He's not sure what to do. Against better judgment, I'm just like Paul. I'm gonna say Jags, but I think barely. I think they barely.
I could make a joke with that Deshaun Watson stuff, but I'm gonna
Stop.
refrain.
Stop. PG-13.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
You settle down, Jose.
Easy. Yeah, but against
Oh,
better
Lord.
judgment, it's gonna be close. And if the Browns win, hey, they win. But it's hard to just say yeah they win at the end. Last year, Browns with Joe Flacco, different story. I'm telling you, they win it, but it's just Watson doesn't look like it. He doesn't look comfortable at all over there.
Not at all.
Well, is
Yep, I
everybody
guess
picking the
that's all of
Jags then?
us. Yep.
Yep.
And I think we're all gonna be in agreement on the next one too. It's Niners Vikings.
Niners all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings looked good last week, but it was
That's against the
Let's
Giants.
be frank. Yeah, like you ain't fooling anybody. And Sam Darnold, you also look good, but again, it's the Giants. How well do you really think you're gonna do against the Niners defense coming up? Not a chance. I have the Niners winning by at least 10. Would love to go higher,
I'm going
but I'm gonna
14.
keep it at 10. Oh wow. Yeah, that Minnesota defense is gonna be no match for that 49ers offense because I think did that make sense to you? I feel like it makes sense to me. What I'm trying to say is the Niners offense is gonna overpower that Minnesota
Yeah,
defense. There we go.
There's just they're too strong on offense, I think, for the Vikings.
I'll also take the Niners, but I have a feeling that the Minnesota is gonna maybe not keep it close, but let's say if the Niners put up like 4 or 5 touchdowns on Minnesota, I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota was able to put up like 21 points. I wouldn't be surprised if it was not a complete blowout. Like even if it's a clear win, I think that Minnesota will score some points.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt they will, but they're gonna struggle getting those points because that Niners defense is gonna manhandle them to the ground, and the Niners offense, even without Christian McCaffrey, because apparently it looks like he's gonna go on week 2 without actually starting this week.
They said possibly up to a month they might be keeping him out of the game.
And his backup, I don't know what his backup's name.
Jordan Mason.
But yeah, thank you. Jordan Mason looked really solid this past week.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, they have a pretty reliable backup. So yeah, but Niners all day, easily by 10.
Yeah, I swear to God, if Will says Vikings.
Well. I just
no.
think it's funny that when I say Dallas by 14 for the Saints, Jose can turn around and say Minnesota or the Niners by 14 against Minnesota. I'm just saying. I feel like it's
Do
the
you
same
trust Sam
situation.
Darnold?
That's just me. No, I'm just saying. I think it's funny.
Whoa,
That's
wait a
besides the
second.
point.
We talking about we
And
trust
that's
Sam Darnold. We've only had one game of quote unquote consistency from Derek Carr. Do we trust Derek Carr? Not necessarily.
I'm just saying here, where was Darnold before he went to the Vikings?
he was
Niners.
the backup of the
Exactly.
Niners.
They know that man.
Anyways, I'm going with the Niners. Never was going to go with the Vikings. I just want to point that out. I feel like I'm being judged here and prejudicial against. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
But
I don't. I
Vikings
think that the
by
Vikings,
2 touchdowns. I agree with the 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's going to be it's a high powered
Even if the
offense,
Vikings
even with
defense,
CMC out.
even if the Vikings defense is good, the Niners offense is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
It can take the Vikings 2 full minutes to score. It'll take the Niners like maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I think you're
and
overestimating the Niners
Well,
a little bit without
Maybe
Christian
a little,
McCaffrey.
but like
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Jordan Mason
you get the picture
proved what
essentially.
he's worth. I think Jordan Mason proved what he's worth, even against the Jets defense, who was also highly ranked with the players they have. I think we're in a kind of a similar situation from last week where they ran all over the Jets. I don't think the Vikings defense is anywhere near the Jets defense by any means.
I
I
mean,
don't see the same
here's what
thing
we're.
not being replicated. And
That's the thing,
if
though.
no run game, cool. Kittle, Ayuk, Debo Samuel. Like, okay, run game's non-existent. That's fine. We know the pass game is insane. Like that's the thing about the Niners. They've got both attributes, a run game and a pass game.
That's the
It's
thing,
one
though.
of those
That's the
offenses.
not. But that's the thing, though, is that week one, number one. So I'm not. Saying that anything's gonna be the way it was in week one, in week two, because it's the first week. Teams are still meshing. They're trying to figure out like how they're gonna be and whatever. And also, like, sure, the Niners still do have like a great pass game, but like no run game, you gotta be one dimensional, and it's gonna be easier to cover you.
Mhm.
So, like, I hear
I
what you're
just don't think the
saying.
Vikings. I don't think the Vikings.
You
have
say
anyone to
no
cover
run game
all
like their
3 of those
backup did
guys.
nothing.
I said
Yeah.
I'm meaning if they don't have a run game, because that's what Will said. If there is no run game.
They still have through the air, but I don't think they
I
have
know, that's
anyone
what
to
I was
cover.
saying.
I don't think they have anyone that's going to cover Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. You don't. You don't have that many playmakers.
You can get maybe
You put
2.
your top corner. You might, and when you're paying attention to those, you've got another one.
Yeah,
And
guess
you've
what?
got
There goes
passing-
Ayuk.
You've got there's a 5th receiver on the team, which is the running back out of the backfield. Like, yes, you take
Yeah.
away the run game, but yes, you've got 5 people to throw to now. You know, it's like
I just
that's the thing about them.
I can't help but think about last year though, whenever McCaffrey was out and whenever who was it? Debo was out, and their
Yeah, at
team
the same
just
time.
started to not be
At
good.
the exact same time, though, and you're right, but that's what
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, it's yeah. I
But
mean, I'm still
who was
taking
McCaffrey's backup last year?
still Jordan Mason.
Well, no, I thought this was Mason's first year.
It is not Mason's first year.
Oh,
Eh.
are you sure?
I'm pretty sure Jordan Mason's been around longer than McCaffrey in San Francisco. I'm about to look him up real quick just to make sure I'm not misremembering.
In the meantime, moving on.
He's only 25.
That is true.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Good lord.
Let me see.
Moving on in the meantime, though, Seahawks, Patriots. I
I got Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't
Please.
know how well this is gonna go if the Seahawks
Please.
don't get the passing game going.
Yes, but please tell me that you believe Jacoby Brissett is going to beat Geno Smith with the receivers he has.
No.
All right.
Yeah, not happening.
But I agree with you 100%. It took Geno and them a while to get going. Week 1, I agree. But once again, it all falls back. Like, if this was week 5 with a lot of this stuff, I'd be like, I wouldn't even be arguing with you on half of it. If this was week 5 or 6, because, I mean, we're already that deep into the season. Week 1, once again, we're off to a slow start. We're trying to get into the rhythm of things. I don't think I think it's a no doubter that the Seahawks beat the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots are any kind of threat to anybody.
Jordan Mason was the backup last year. But
Was he?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, the
I couldn't remember.
Seahawks over the Patriots easily.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember last year, brother. I don't remember
But
what I did last week.
like I'm saying though, the Seahawks really need to start getting that pass game going because other than Lockett, I don't think anybody else really got much. I think DK got 4 targets. I think Smith and Jigba had like 6 or something like that, and Lockett got everything else. And I don't even know how many Lockett got. Actually, let me check real quick. I'll pull it up right here on the screen because I keep forgetting I can do that now. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks just like they're not going to make the same mistakes that kind of plagued the Bengals in week 1. And the Bengals, I mean, like we kind of had faith that they would beat the Patriots anyway, but they had their own set of issues. As much as the Seahawks didn't look amazing in week 1, like that team is just it's too I don't know, you'd think it'd be too good of a team to lose to the Patriots in week 2.
Yeah, and right here, Lockett also only had 6 receptions. So they just didn't pass a whole lot, like, at all.
Yeah, I'm not. It's gonna be interesting to see how they play this week. I
They're
give
gonna
the
have
Seahawks
to.
the edge.
They're gonna have to get the passing game going because I believe Kenneth Walker is gonna be down.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've been hearing too. So if you get your passing game back on on target, online, whatever the term might be, you're gonna win this game because the Patriots. Yeah, sure, they won last week, and their defense actually did a good job shutting down the Bengals offense. But could you do that again against the Seahawks? Now, I'm not saying the Seahawks are a better team than the Bengals, but the Seahawks still have much superior wide receivers compared to what the Patriots got on paper. So that's why I'm giving the Seahawks the edge on for this game. But I'm only predicting them to win by 3 points.
Yeah, I don't know about 3 points, but I know it's not gonna be like the Seahawks are gonna be
It's not a blowout.
clearly like winning by 14 or anything.
Yeah,
Definitely a touchdown or
not by a
less,
long
I'd say.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so all of us are taking the Seahawks then.
Yep.
and again, another one I think we're all probably gonna take the same one. Jets Titans.
Hmm.
I think
I'm taking Jets.
Yeah, I'm rolling with
this
the
one.
Jets on this one.
I don't care how they looked
because-
against the
yeah,
Niners.
the
I'm rolling with the Jets as well.
Yeah, the Titans just imploded at the end of that game.
Yeah, the Titans blew it on by losing that game against the Bears. They have their own fault, and I just think the Jets defense is just gonna feast on that offense for sure. Now, how will the Jets offense do this week? I would assume they would do better this week because they just did not have a good game against the Niners. But again, it's the Niners. You just can't do much against them, especially on that defense of theirs. So I would imagine Aaron Rodgers will be able to spread the ball around a little bit more effectively, maybe run the ball more effectively. So give me the Jets all day. I'm taking them by 14 in this matchup.
I'm gonna go by 7.
I don't 7 or 10, I would say. I think that Brees Hall definitely runs more effectively against the Titans. You know, pass game should be better against the Titans. Titans offense didn't look like much against the Bears. Will Levis threw a pick 6, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. I don't see them being able to do all that much in this game.
Yep.
I'd say the Jets win by 10.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to
Sounds
say
good.
Jets. Unless Will wants to be the
Nah.
contrarian.
He ain't picking his division rival against the Jets.
No, bro, come on, let's be honest. Yeah, once again, division rival. I hope they lose. Like, this is just obvious stuff. This is what we should be going based on.
I don't know.
With some real,
I don't know
with
because
some
you
real-
were
with
saying that
some
all
realism.
Levis is a sleeper this year.
He
Yeah.
is. I think he is. I think he's gonna have a good second year. Yeah, week 1. Yeah, you had that terrible pick 6. He knew it as soon as he threw it. He dropped to his knees. Knew he had made a mistake, like instantaneously. I do think he's going to have a better year.
Future editing me put in that picture of him on his knees watching the pick six right here.
Whoa, hey, chill, calm down.
Jose wants to Photoshop dudes on their knees.
No,
Hold
it's not a
up.
Photoshop.
Oh,
it's a
no.
picture from the
Oh,
game.
no.
He threw the pick six and fell to his knees with his hands on his head in shock.
No, but there's just no. Even with it being at home, this is one of those games like home field advantage does
Don't
not
matter.
Like it's not going to matter in this sense. Unfortunately,
You're
it's
cooked.
Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall,
Lazard,
team
who
that
surprisingly kind of went off.
Yeah, Lazard, who expected, and once again a Jets defense who has pieces, who has players who brought them. Yeah, no, unfortunately, it's not going to be. Titans are going 0-2. It's not going to be a good start for them, just like a few other teams. But that's just how it happens sometimes. I feel sorry for him, but I still stand by. I think he's going to have a good year. He's got a tough schedule. He's got some tough games to start off not good. But yeah, Jets, they should win by 10 plus. They should.
Can we take a quick moment and applaud Aaron Rodgers for surviving more than 4 plays this time around?
I
No,
mean,
just me? Okay.
No,
Will's wish did not
he was
come true.
always going to. No, there was no shot he was gonna get season-ending injury in week 1 again.
Well, I do know this one guy on Twitter. He actually made a bet and lost big money on it.
Yeah, of course he
How
lost.
much did he put on it?
He didn't specify. He wouldn't tell me. So I'm like, oh, you must have lost big money to me.
Nah.
Ouch.
That man probably just saying that.
Probably, yeah. It's Twitter after all, so.
Okay, next game. Giants at the Commanders. Like we said, the Giants, we all know they're not a good team. Their defense couldn't stop the Vikings. And Daniel Jones is handing out turnovers every game.
Yeah. They stand no chance against
Granted,
the Commanders.
I don't give the Commanders defense like a lot of credit. They didn't do great against the Bucks. Oh, what the heck with the cat?
Sorry. Yep, y'all saw the cat today. You're welcome.
I didn't.
But
whatever.
The Commanders defense might not be good, but their offense wasn't doing terrible. They were moving the ball. And they have the better quarterback, which should be obvious. I mean, Daniel Jones is kind of bottom of the barrel. Jaden, in his debut, didn't do too bad. 2 rushing touchdowns, I believe 80-something rushing yards, and I think over 160 passing.
But
he looked really good.
He did have 2 fumbles, but they were recovered by Washington.
I will put an asterisk, though. A lot of his rushing yards are not because he was rushing. A lot of his rushing yards is because he was running for his life behind that O-line.
Yes, but
like the pocket collapsed.
He's used to that
a billion times.
As an LSU fan, that man is used to that.
That's not a good thing, though. Like, he might be good under pressure. That's a good thing, but they need to tighten that up.
Yeah,
if they want to have any shot at like not losing their quarterback.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern for the Commanders is like keeping him safe. That it needs to be their biggest concern. Their defense also should be a concern, but it has some bright spots. Yeah, it has some bright spots, but they need to work on the rest.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'd still say Commanders by 7 at least, though.
Yeah, I think Jaden has over 100 rushing yards this time.
It would surprise me if he has over 300 yards passing for this one.
Nah, I don't think he'll have that much passing. Maybe like 150, 200. Maybe. But
if he gets McLaurin involved, he was MIA last game.
Yeah, because they were doing a lot of... Because like you said, he was having to run a lot. And then when he wasn't running, he was doing screens to Eckler and... who is it? Robinson?
Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, worked. Like, they were pretty effective, like, in doing... like ground game stuff, but
yeah, and I gotta say this. I don't know if any of y'all watched that game. Good Lord, whoever is the equipment manager up there for the Commanders, tighten that man's helmet. It popped off like 4 times. There was one in particularly that I know Will's seen it because he sent it to me on TikTok the other day, where Jaden got kind of sandwiched between 2 people, and the helmet went flying off down the field like 10 yards.
Oof.
That's supposed to stay on his head.
Yeah,
Keep the man safe, please.
for real. Yeah, not a good look there. But
Well, if he wasn't getting sandwiched so much, that would be less likely.
Yeah, but even the announcers in that game were like, there was one play in particular where he was, I think it was like 3rd and 1 or something like that, and he ran into the end zone and like turned his back and pushed in, and just like a tap on the back of his helmet knocked it off completely. And even the announcers are like, yeah, that shouldn't be enough to knock off the helmet. Something's wrong.
yeah, whoever's in charge of the equipment, they need to do a better job tightening up those helmets.
Equipment manager get the week 1 jitters.
No, he
Yep.
got somebody else. He was going against Jaden in fantasy that week.
He got the parlay going.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, I'm taking.
Yeah, is it all Commanders here?
Yeah,
Will has
I
not
got
said.
got Commanders.
Yep. No, there's no. I'm not picking the Giants. I said it earlier. For the next 5 years, the Giants and Panthers.
Trash.
Terrible.
Poverty
Yeah, I mean,
franchises.
yeah, I mean, Jaden showed spurts week 1 against a good Bucks team. This is not a good team.
Yes.
Trash. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't doubt Jose's. I agree. He probably will. Hopefully, he doesn't have 100 rushing yards. If he does, hopefully it's due to designed plays and he's extending them. Hopefully, it's not due to the
Running
line
for
is
his life.
trash and the pockets collapsing. Yeah, because like Jose said, I sent him a video earlier. I think yesterday or the day before about just that O line collapsing and he's running for his life just constantly. Hopefully, that's not the case. I do think 300 yards is a stretch passing.
Yeah.
I agree, 150 to 200, but you got to get McLaurin involved. That's the only way. You know,
give him time in the backfield. He will throw. He can do it.
But once again,
honestly,
that was against a Tampa Bay defense that is middle of the pack, not terrible, not great. So I don't see that coming from the Jets. I don't see that same pressure.
You mean the
coming
Giants?
from them like that?
The
Giants, yeah.
Bro, I'll be honest. I don't see it being any different this week. I still think the Commanders win by 7. I think they play better. I don't see it being any better for Jaden though. I think he's still running. Everyone always sleeps on the Giants' pass rush. They got some pass rushers.
We shall see.
Moving on. Rams Cardinals.
Easily Rams.
I think close game.
Yeah, I was going to take it back. I mean, I still picking Rams, but the Cardinals will keep it close because it's one divisional game. And the Arizona Cardinals played really well against the Bills before they just lost it in the end. And the Rams, they just barely lost to the Lions last week in overtime. But considering that, even though it's a home game for the Cardinals, it's probably a home game for the Rams, to be frank, because Arizona fans just don't show up to their games anymore. So, but that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is the Rams are probably a more superior team to the Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals by 7.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Not
Rams by 7. Wow, brain fart. Rams by 7.
I have, there's a key thing that the Cardinals need to do if they want to have a chance. Get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. He did next to nothing last week. He could have had a touchdown. He was wide open, 5 yards out from the end zone, but Kyler just didn't look at him.
No, he can't see over his O-line. He didn't see him.
Okay, a Kyler Murray short joke.
Oh, no.
In 2024.
I stole that off of TikTok.
God.
Just bringing it up that everyone was saying he couldn't see over his O-lineman.
Good God, dude.
I guess he was being short with his lineman.
Oh God, kill me.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I think the Rams win as well. I don't know if it's gonna be close as in 3 points or close as in 7-10. Like, it depends on, I don't know. It depends on if the Rams continue to like do well. I think Puka is out
Yeah,
this
IR.
time. Yeah, like he's out now. They're on Parkinson, their backup tight end, because Higbee's on IR. Aaron Donald's retired, but the defense still looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think that Stafford made some big mistakes in the Lions game. He did throw a bad pick in the red zone, but I don't know. I think that if the Rams make mistakes, then they're gonna recover, because the Cardinals are gonna make them too. I don't see the Cardinals as being like an elite team that doesn't like mess up.
Yeah.
I have more confidence in the Rams.
Same.
Yeah, same here.
Kind of sucks the Rams lost Puka though, because I just saw that they put him on IR for a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
Well, he
Well,
has to
he's
be.
That
IR. The
stinks.
minimum is
Yeah,
4 weeks,
4 weeks.
to go on IR.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be out for a month at least.
Yeah. So at least I got Cooper Cup for the time being, and he's not trying not to dog on Cooper Cup, but the reason why I don't emphasize on him as much anymore is because he's had an injury plagued couple seasons.
Yeah,
in
and
a
now
row.
that you said that, watch.
He's better go
You
off.
jinxed it.
Yep,
He about
I
to
sure
break
did.
his leg.
Yep.
He about
Better
to
break his leg,
after
or
a-
he's about to have
yeah,
another MVP
big slot.
season.
Yeah. No, I think this one will be a good one, though. I think it'll be good for both teams. I mean, we saw what the Cardinals did against the Bills. We saw how that game went for the Rams against the Lions. I think it's going to be close for them. But I do think the Rams are a little more well put together. They've worked together.
Yeah.
A lot of these players have been together for a couple years now, so I think there's a lot of chemistry there. I do think the Rams win. I think it's close, though. I think it's within 7. I really do. 3-7 is probably going to be the margin for that one. But I mean, you never know. We might see a continuation. Hopefully the Cardinals get Marvin Harrison involved this week, unlike last week. But that's got to be. They got to get him. They drafted him that high for a reason. You got to get him involved. You got to use him. He's starting for a reason. But I think it's going to be a good. I think this will be a good one. A continuation for both these teams last week to build on. But it does suck that that Puka went out. I mean, that's a big hit, and they're already out Tyler Higbee as well. So it's like, man, now you've got 2 offensive pieces missing. It's not great, man. It's not great for them. So hopefully they can make the best of it, like they did last year when Cup was out and Puka carried. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I think the Rams still find a way to pull it off.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
Next up is Steelers at the Broncos.
I think this will be a very defensive game. But I'm giving the edge to the Steelers because I think their defense is significantly better than the Broncos. But the question is, for this game, whose offense is going to come out on top? Because Pittsburgh's offense had a rough time against Atlanta's offense, even though they did win the game.
They did it with nothing but field goals.
Literally. And Bo Nix for the Broncos offense, I would say he looked okay. I'm not going to say he was anything above decent, but just okay. But he's probably going to still have some learning curves, and he's going up against a really talented Steelers defense. I just don't see the Broncos actually winning this one, so I'm taking the Steelers by 3 in this matchup. It's going to be a close one, I think.
I think that the Steelers also win. I don't necessarily think it'll be by a lot. I think that it'll be a closer game, 3 points, 7 points, something like that. But I think this is going to be Bo Nix's welcome to the NFL moment. I think he's about to get hit a few times by that Steelers defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers too. Same as Paulo, like between 3 and 7.
Yeah, I don't have. I mean, there's nothing to argue here. Like whether it's Justin Fields starting or Russell Wilson. I mean, Fields is starting this week. There's just nothing. There's nothing for Denver that's jumping out saying they're gonna compete.
Yeah.
At all. They're gonna hold up. I agree though. Like he's about to get welcomed. It's gonna hurt, Go ahead and get an ice bath ready. Go ahead and take some ibuprofen before and after the game. Go ahead and
Yep.
put a pillow in the dirt because that's where you're gonna be spending some time. Sorry, but it's not gonna be pretty. Uh, yeah,
It's
but
the way.
I agree. I don't think they. Hopefully, they can get that offense rolling. I mean, I don't see why they shouldn't. But hopefully, it's not another game of field goals. Uh, that's just going to be atrocious and boring to watch. Hopefully, they
Yeah.
can do something. Uh, but if
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's probably going to be another 5-3 to 7. It's another one of those games that there's not a lot of high hopes for or anything extravagant.
So next up is another one that I don't know how to judge this one. It's Bengals at the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
gonna be honest. I think it's easy. I think it's easy.
If they play like last week, yeah, it's the Chiefs.
I think this is out of all the times that the Bengals have matched up against the Chiefs, this is the easiest.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
the
sorry.
most I felt
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
the Chiefs game.
Because
Yeah.
I don't feel like the Bengals compared to the Ravens on either side of the ball. Unfortunately, they just don't. And I mean it's in KC just like it was last week. It's not in it's not in Cincy. It's Kansas City once more. I just don't see it getting better. I don't see
Me neither.
Burrow and then putting that offense together like what's going on in Baltimore to do anything. But
Yeah.
there's always the off chance that something just they get on the same page, it clicks really well, and
Yeah, there's
it
a
can
chance.
happen. I'm not saying
There's a
it
chance
can't.
that they just wake up on Sunday and the Bengals are locked in.
Yeah, but there's that for them. It's like there's the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's fading, and it's not good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
not good at
Bengals have
all.
always had the Chiefs card, except for the last time that they played them. Like historically, like it's safe to bet Bengals against Chiefs, but like in this particular matchup, with how the Bengals looked week 1, with the problems they've been having with T Higgins probably isn't going to play because he's got his injury. And then Jamar Chase contract issues or alleged illness, because I don't know if he was actually sick this past week.
I mean, he did play, but just not a lot of targets.
Yeah, it's if ever there was a time to wake up early, it's against the Chiefs because the Bengals are
Mhm.
extra motivated against them. But I just, even if they do wake up and play well, I'd still say that the Chiefs are going to win this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't want to pick
Yeah.
against the Bengals, but I think I have to here.
They d-
I don't see anything that I can trust them with right now. I need them to prove me wrong.
Yeah, the Bengals offense just looked so rough last week, and they didn't. And they played on paper a pretty pathetic Patriots team, and I just don't see them beating the Chiefs this time around. The Chiefs just they beat a really good Ravens team last week, and there's really nothing to say about the Bengals positively in a way. So I have to pick the Chiefs, and that really does put a rock in my stomach.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
when you compare the two teams right now, Bengals and Chiefs, there's nothing you can look at in the Bengals right now and say that they do this better than the Chiefs. Like run
Mhm.
game,
Yeah.
pass game, defense, everything is to the Chiefs
But
right
by
now.
God, I would love to be proven wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, same.
Yeah, I think
Same.
everything is just everything's thrown off. The whole chemistry in Cincinnati is completely thrown off. Like Bro didn't look locked in. Like Jamar obviously isn't. You've got a running back situation. Mixing leaves, and you got Moss trying to be that guy. Like
Who did
Higgins
decent?
is that. Who
He did
did? Yeah, I'm
decent.
not saying he didn't, but he's trying to take over and fill shoes that's big shoes to fill. And T Higgins is out. He held out and got
Do we
signed, and
know if T Higgins is going to
he's
still
still
be out?
doubtful. He's
I think it's
questionable to
projected for
doubtful.
him to be. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's doubtful right now.
Yeah, he's in that questionable to doubtful that could most likely turn into doubtful.
Yeah,
And if that's
I
the
think it said
case, it's
that he
just
didn't practice today. So,
Mhm.
I mean, if that's any indication.
Yeah. And if that's the case, you've got I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. It begins with an I. and your tight end who got
Oh,
stripped
yeah.
at the
Irwin?
within 5 yards. No, I
I was about
so
to say.
is
Oh, the other
Surveillance
guy.
or have you? Yeah, I mean it's just everything just looks.
Yeah.
They look in disarray. They look lost. It's not the same team from 2 years ago, or it's just or how they are every year. It just does not look right. Like there's a lot of internal issues that's throwing off that organization and throwing off that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
I think we're all in agreement here, huh?
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
kind of conservative and say that Chiefs by 7, but
Yeah.
honestly, it could be more.
Yeah.
It could be more. It could, like I said, there is the chance that they prove us all wrong and wake up and
My God,
do
would
what
I
they
love for
do.
that to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to see Burrow and Jamar do that, but if they have another week like they did, it's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I kind of hate that this game was so early in the season.
Hey, those are what make or break a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving
Yeah.
on to Sunday night football.
And here we go.
Bears and
Prime
Texans,
time.
and I'm gonna be honest, like Paulo said with Bo Nix, I think this is gonna be Caleb Williams' welcome to the NFL moment.
I
Listen,
could
it has
easily see that.
been
Yeah.
so long since we've had a prime time game. Is this
I
what it
bet.
feels like?
Yes, y'all
forgot.
are relevant again, so they're gonna give
Yes.
y'all good games.
Yeah. Listen here. I want to be as confident as possible, but I don't want to happen what happened with the Panthers last year. I don't want to be so confident in our team to be so overconfident that somehow we let fingernail painting Caleb Williams beat us. I don't want that to happen by any means.
The man who threw for less than 100 yards.
But let me tell you something. Houston by 14. Don't care what anyone says. Send them my way. I will take on any Bears fan right here, right now. They're gonna get shut down. Caleb Williams. Listen, you got to face Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter on each end of the line. It's not pretty. Like it's you have issues. Our linebacking core, they lost few, but they replaced them, and the same thing for the secondary. I don't have concerns, but there's always that. Hey, we messed up against the Panthers. We could probably do the same thing here against the Bears, and I really don't want to see that. But with this team, I don't have any issues, and I might be attending that game. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see late minute ticket pickup. Might be there, might not be there. We're gonna see.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree. I would say Houston by 14 is probably pretty realistic, but I think that the Bears, for as much as the Bears had issues last week, their defense was a strong point compared to the rest of everything. And the Texans, Stroud and the O-line did well enough to win the game, obviously, but it wasn't perfect. There was a couple of mishaps. Stroud got sacked. There's a couple of things that maybe hopefully won't happen this week for the Texans. If they can just shore up some of their problems, then there should be no issue. But there's a chance that it's closer of a game than maybe everyone's thinking. But I don't see the Bears winning, even in that scenario.
I'm gonna say Texans by 10.
Me neither.
Just to be safe.
I'm gonna say Texans by 10 as well. Because I would love to put them up more than that, but I just want to be on the cautious side because you never know. Like
the
Bill
Bears could
mentioned
suddenly
earlier,
just
like,
wake up and figure things out on offense. We don't know yet.
It's still early,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say that someone's gonna get blown out after week 1 just because they could lock in at any time.
Yeah, and the Texans, as we saw last season, they should have beaten certain teams like the Panthers, for example, but they didn't, and that of course it was a whole new team, so they're going through rookie problems and all that. But this year, I have a lot more confidence in the Texans this time around to take down the Bears quite easily. I would hope.
Oh, there's another
but
thing
I
to
still
remember
got
with the Bears. Roma Dunze is out.
That
He
is
is,
true.
yep.
He's
They
gone.
lost their Yeah, they lost their wide receiver from this past draft. So yeah, I don't think Caleb Williams. He's gonna have a horrible day. I think
Yeah,
he's gonna have a
that's what I
terrible
hope.
day.
That's what I
Welcome
hope.
to the
And don't get
NFL,
Yeah,
me wrong,
buddy.
The Bears
There
have weapons.
is
The Bears have weapons on offense. It's just Caleb has to figure it out. So that's my concern. Like they've got weapons, right? We just have to contain them and make sure they don't get started. Got to make sure he has no time to pass, no time to look. Like they've got to assert dominance and pressure early and get him as uncomfortable as possible and mess up their game plan from the start. Like that's got to be the initiative. And if that's the case, he's never going to settle down and he can't use those weapons because they've got him. They're there. They built a team around him. He just has to be able to use them, and our game plan has to be to disrupt that from the first down to the last whistle. That has
I'm
to be the game
I'm gonna
plan.
be honest with you. I think the difference maker in this game compared to like the Bears going against the Titans versus the Bears going against the Texans is the run game.
yeah,
Joe Mixon is not Tony Pollard, and Pollard still did pretty decent. I
yeah.
think
yeah.
I think Mixon's about to put up some decent numbers.
I will. I agree. Yes, I intend to agree with that. But yeah, nothing about the Bears other than maybe their defense speaks out to me that they could possibly make this uh turn this game in their favor. But Texans all day by 10.
Yep.
There's something that bothers me about Houston. And 99% of the time it's a good thing. I don't think it's gonna come into play in this game, but at some point in the season, and Will has probably noticed this, D'Amico Ryans is the type of coach who loves to go for it on fourth and take chances and take risks, and you've got a lot of good players who pull it off. Like I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, that second Stephon Diggs touchdown this past week was on a fourth down, unless I'm misremembering. Um, but like there's a lot of like risk taking. And I don't think it's gonna come back to bite him against the Bears, but at some point this season I feel like some of their risks are not gonna work out and it's gonna bite them.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I appreciate the risks. There is a certain time to do that on the other side of the 50. Second half, you're down. There's a certain time to take a risk. 4th and 1, I'm okay with that. 4th and 2, like we did, and Stroud slipped at the 50 and got lucky with the shovel pass. That's the stuff I'm talking about. Houston saw a few years back us versus Casey in the playoffs 25-0. We're up, and Bill O'Brien's taking unnecessary risk on the wrong side of the 50 against KC of all teams. And what happens? But I do also believe, though, I believe D'Amico is smarter than Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
I do 100%, and I don't think he does weigh
Yeah.
those risks. I do agree, though, that we got to ease up. We're not Dan Campbell, D'Amico. Listen, you're not Dan Campbell. All right, chill with the risk. You saw what happened with the Lions. Like, let's take things back. All right, let's just be careful with them. I agree with Paulo 100%. We're getting a little risky now. You know, we're feeling ourselves, and we're getting a little too risky.
Gonna have to watch yourself next time y'all go up against a good team. Be
For
careful.
Well,
real.
Texans across the board. Well,
Yep.
finally for Monday night. Ugh. Falcons and Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eagles. Eagles by 14. They're not gonna win a game with nothing but
Yeah.
field goals. This is not the Steelers' offense.
Mm-mm. And
Falcons
that
scored a
Eagles,
I'm talking about the
They did.
Steelers won that game with without scoring a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
That Steelers
Yeah,
offense is not the same as the Eagles offense. Barkley is about to put up big numbers, I think.
yeah, that Falcons defense, if you, like they did okay enough to where they just held them to field goals, but the Eagles are not the Steelers. They have way better weapons on offense than the Steelers ever did. Yeah, this could be a day where Saquon Barkley just absolutely makes the Falcons defense his you know what. So, but yeah, and it would nothing to please me to see the Falcons go 0-2 in the division right now. So, but anyway, But yeah, so the Falcons offense still has things to work out, and the Eagles defense is okay at best. But I think they'll get the job done by shutting down that Falcons offense. I had the Eagles winning by 14 as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how
difference
bad or
maker
good it's.
is the Falcons defense in this. Like they're going to get up against a much higher caliber offense this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
I don't know how bad or good it's gonna be for the Falcons or the Eagles, but I do. There is no doubt in my mind that it's the Eagles win because it's in Philly, isn't it?
Yep.
In Philly, primetime Kirk Cousins. That's all I needed to know. Eagles win.
Unless Will wants to be a contrarian here.
Last time Kirk
Well.
went into. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Jesus
No,
Christ.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh
Go ahead.
Lord.
I was just gonna say last time Kirk went into Philly for primetime, he was with a much better Vikings team and they still lost. So
Yeah, that's fair. But it is Big Kirko. No, no. Last week was I mean maybe week one. We can call it week one. New team. I mean you've had off season to get ready. Uh, but to lose to a team that only kicked field goals, with Justin Fields is the quarterback as well. Yeah, there's not a lot of hope. I think the Steelers and Eagles defenses are comparable by far. Like we know the Eagles have a very terrifying front four. I mean, they continuously just draft from Georgia the biggest possible D lineman they can. We know their secondary's quick. Like that defense is going to be very similar to what they saw in Pittsburgh or better. Like it's not going to get any better. And Cousins knows that this is not the first time he's faced him. Like it's a consistency. So I don't think it looks good at all. Like it just looks terrible. And I'm pretty sure Coco does not do good with primetime games. If my memory serves me well, with
no,
past,
that's like he is
yeah,
the most notorious player for
yeah.
being bad in prime
So
time.
maybe Atlanta somehow does upset them, but I don't see that happening. The Eagles showed how dominant they can be, and that offense looks revitalized looks better than last year. I mean, Saquon put on a show, you know, put on a show and showed why the Giants should have paid him, and they didn't. And I think they're realizing, we may have messed up. That was our only bright spot in this offense, and I think Saquon all season long is going to wreak havoc. I'm happy for him. That's terrifying though. But yeah, there's nothing in my mind that says Atlanta's going to win for sure. There's just nothing that shows that they're about just like the Bengals. That offense is off.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
used to any of them. London, Kyle Pitts. I mean, he had some good connections, but there's just their biggest bright spot is Bijan, and they fed him. They they gave him the ball. 24 touches, but it's not happening. I don't think it's going to.
Yeah. The only way
Yeah, I
Atlanta
agree.
wins this game is if every single person on the offense plays to their full potential, and
Yeah.
same with the defense.
We're
And then
talking
also, like, yeah, you got like the Eagles in Brazil had issues with their new center and Hurts having a disconnect, so you'd have to capitalize
Mhm.
on that. But it would all just have to fall in the right direction for Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, every player on the Falcons team would have to take a Senzu bean from Dragon Ball to have a chance to actually beat Philadelphia for sure. That's the only way that's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's Eagles. It's Eagles across the board.
Unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we agreed on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we agreed on, I think, most of them.
But I think
Yep.
that just came down to the week 2 schedule. That's just how things aligned with this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a
And
lot
Yeah.
of
once again, it's
no-brainers.
just week 2. Now, when we get further into the season, I think there's going to be more disagreements based on schedules
likely.
Yeah.
and their
Most likely.
standings. So, hey, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. As long as the
Yeah.
Falcons lose, I'm a happy man.
As long as every team in my division loses, but me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about the Titans getting too much this year.
Take it easy.
Just saying.
Nah, the Titans aren't. Titans are bottom of the barrel in that division.
Yeah, I think honestly the Texans' biggest competition is Indy.
Oh yeah, just like it used to be. Just like when
Yeah.
Manning was there. It's back to being Houston and Indy.
Yeah,
And I did kind of call it.
Jacksonville, I need to see more from to know how they're gonna
Jacksonville's
do.
kind of sneaky, where it's like they're they're a bad good team. Like they could be a good team, but they could also just be bad.
Yeah, they're never consistent with that.
Yep. Well, that'll
Well,
wrap up for the week 2 predictions. We'll be back hopefully next week if the hurricane doesn't screw us over. For
yeah.
week 3.